Hello, everyone. I'm Hal Eisner, and that's my smartphone. We all love our gadgets, don't we? Our phones, our tablets, our video games, all the electronics that have become part of our lives that we think we can't live without. But can you imagine what that world of electronic gadgets must be like for someone who's visually impaired? Unable to see when they swipe or feel the text. There's a whole world of things we take for granted that they can't even necessarily fathom. The Braille Institute has workshops for those who are visually impaired to help them learn how to use these things, the touch screens, the electronics that will enhance their lives. Fox 11 News in Depth starts right now. Hello, everyone. It's so true. I mean, we really take these things for granted. We believe that everybody knows how to use them, but it's not so true. Here to talk to us about their training to help the visually impaired master touchscreens and new technological devices is the Braille Institute's Jack Fullman, also joined by one of their instructors, Natsiri Kidkul, and a student, Dolores, she likes to go by Dee Dee, Mann. And thank you all for being here. In fact, Natsiri likes to go by the word Earth, which is a name your parents gave you, right?
Yes.
A long time ago. So Earth, Dee Dee, Jack, welcome to the show. Jack, tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, so we're the Braille Institute. We actually celebrated our centennial last year, so we've been in LA for quite a while. We're a nonprofit organization for the blind and visually impaired, and we have 7 locations around Southern California.
I know you do a lot of things with regard to things like audio books to help people get through books by listening to them and things like that. But we're talking about this notion of electronics, about phones, about touchscreens, about things that we would intuitively understand, but people perhaps like Earth and Dee Dee might not. And maybe that's a good opportunity for Earth, for you to tell us about your phone, how you teach people to use these things, and that the phones actually have some things in them that intuitively will help them that they could use even at home.
Okay. The phone comes with a self-installed voice. So when you first start, it has a voice on it. So anything that you touch on the screen,
for notifications.
I can hear the voice, right?
Yes.
Messages.
Or you can flick to go from one icon to the next.
So it's like Siri talking back to you and saying, so this application is messages, this application is the phone, this application is something else. Dee Dee, how does that work for you?
Well, the Braille Institute also has Bard, and we can download books from Bard, and we can listen to our books that way. Some people also use the Braille note, connect it to their iPhone, and they can read it with Braille at the same time.
You just got a phone, didn't you?
No, I've had it for a while.
What do you have?
I have the 10.
You have the 10, iPhone 10.
Right. When I started with Earth, I had a flip phone.
She was teaching you.
Well, she talked me out of the flip phone and got the iPhone. And when I got my first iPhone, I had a round button. Then after I got used to that, I graduated to the 10 that has no buttons.
That's right. That's right. It's got a little line that you push forward.
It tells you slide up with 3 fingers or whatever.
Exactly.
But they do have phones that have the raised button for those who feel more comfortable. For me, she talked me into, when I was going to get my new upgrade, go for the 10.
You wanted her to become part of the 20th century, right?
Yes, definitely. Okay. I don't want her to stay behind.
You know, I want to ask you on sort of personal levels here. Dee Dee, you've been blind since birth, right?
Uh-huh.
And you, Earth, actually became blind during childhood, is that right?
10 years ago.
10 years ago. What happened?
I have a surgery that went wrong and caused me to go blind.
So it doesn't happen that just people are blind from birth. You have people at the Braille Institute, Jack, that maybe are students that are in their 60s, 70s, like Dee Dee or others, that become blind later in life.
Yeah, it's actually a common misconception that we only serve blind students. Actually, a very large portion are actually low vision, which could be anywhere on a spectrum. It could be someone who's just starting to lose their vision or someone who's very close to going blind. And we offer services for everyone. We also offer consultations to find out what your status is when you come in the first time.
Let me get in the weeds just a little bit. So we're all into text messaging, right?
Right.
How do you do that, Earth? How do you text message?
Since I've been using this phone for a while, I know my message is on the first icon. So I go directly there and double tap to activate, to open the app. And then I can just swipe to go to each messages.
But to type a message, like if you wanted to send me a text, how would you do that?
I can go to compose, which I know where it is.
Heading. Messages. Messages.
And do you type it or do you dictate it?
Sometimes I compose, sometimes I type, and sometimes I do dictation.
And to type, you have memorized in your mind what that keyboard looks like.
Yes.
And so you're able to, I gotta tell you, I got fat thumbs. So when it comes to typing, I sometimes hit the wrong keys. And that autocorrect always messes up what I write.
H-E-L.
Oh, look at that. She's typing my name. H-A-L. Got it. Okay.
I type in hello.
Hello. Okay. So you're very versed in using your phone. And Dee Dee, are you able to text message as well?
I can. I'm not as fast typer on the phone as Earth, but I can do it. But I usually use Siri. But the problem with Siri is sometimes they put words in your mouth that you didn't say. So
Words
then
in your mouth,
then you got to correct it.
But what about pictures in your mind? In other words, do they help you in some way visualize things that you can't inherently visualize?
In Facebook now, they do have where the picture is being described to you. And so they will say, like Guide Dog School of America or Braille Institute will say, there are two people in this picture, one with a dog, one with an iPhone. You know, and they tell you.
They tell you. Jack, let me ask you the final question here, and that's, if there are people at home right now that have this situation, they have family members who maybe have poor vision, how do they go to your workshops? I understand through the month of January, your workshops are free.
Yeah, they're always free. Our workshops are always free, but for January, we're doing a technology month where we're highlighting some technology
And how do people find out about that?
They go to www.brailleinstitute.org. And you could sign up, and you can also sign up for a consultation if you want to start coming to our centers. But workshops are free for anyone who wants to come in.
All right. Well, we'll put that on our website as well. And Dee Dee and Earth, thank you all. I'm going to be looking for your text messages.
Definitely.
Okay.
I'm texting you as we're speaking.
Type me as we speak. Exactly. Thanks so much for being here. Coming up next on Fox 11 News In Depth, is it the latest craze? Why everyone is going nuts for pickleball?
Pickleball is a healthy exercise. The most fun to me is looking across the room and seeing 20 or 30 seniors out there that are playing their heart out, and they could be at home sitting on the couch, but they love the game just like I do. You also see kids in the national tournament. You'll see kids from 9-year-old to elderly people that are 91. So let me tell you, pickleball is for everybody.
And you hear that Texas accent? That's because that's a friend of mine from Dallas, Mike Cooper. Mike and I went to high school together many years ago. And now he's a big pickleball player. He goes to the regionals. He goes to the nationals. He's really, really into this game, has been trying to get me into this game as well. I want to introduce you to our guest right now. They're here because they work for a pickleball manufacturing company. It makes a machine. Bill Green runs the sports tutor. He's the CEO of that company, which makes this machine that's right here. This is basically like a ball thrower you'd see in a batting cage, right? And basically it spits out balls for you to be able to hit it. Also joining us right now, we have Peter Martinez, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, Peter Martinez. And Ramon, what is it?
James
Napier. Oh, James Napier. Okay. I've got that here. I just thought maybe I got that wrong. James, let me ask you, you've been playing pickleball for how long?
A few months.
Why do you think this game has caught on? You just learned it a few months ago.
Well, my background is in ping pong, so the concept of playing pickleball is very similar. It just play on a bigger table, but which is basically on a smaller tennis court.
And what about you?
I've been playing for about 3 months, and I play tennis as well, but I love pickleball because it's easy on the body, it's low impact, and I'm getting great exercise and meeting a lot of new friends where I play.
Bill, I'd like you to explain that to me because you make this machine that we spotted earlier, this machine that throws out balls, but this is a big industry right now.
It is the fastest growing sport in America for the last 5 years or so. We also make machines for tennis, baseball, softball, volleyball, and soccer. But 5 years ago, we saw this catch, and I said, we have to make a machine for this sport. And we've literally sold thousands of these. It's really getting popular.
But tell me, I really want to understand this. I mean, sports come along, new games come along, people like to do this, like to do that. But this game for some reason has really taken off.
Yeah, the U.S. Pickleball Association is a fantastic organization. They have pickleball ambassadors everywhere, all across the country, whose job it is to introduce people to pickleball. And they just do a really tremendous job at it. It's as social as it is exercise. So there's a lot more doubles played in pickleball than in tennis, which is primarily singles. Until you get older, it's doubles. But pickleball is more doubles, and it's a very social game as well as getting good exercise.
Well, I mentioned my friend Mike Cooper in Dallas, and he's been trying to get me to play this game for a long time. So I put on some shorts, I put on some shoes, and I grabbed a paddle. Take a look at this video right here. That's me. Okay, so I obviously am into self-effacing humor, I guess, because that's not a great athlete there playing pickleball like you two guys. But I gave it a shot, and what I found was it's an interesting game. That ball is like a wiffle ball. It's very lightweight. The paddles are kind of like ping pong paddles, but a little bit larger. And as you watch that and I watch that, the one thing that I am drawn to is the basketball court and how in that recreation center they drew pickleball lines inside the basketball court for people to be able to play. This seems to be the way things are going now.
Absolutely. In fact, one of the decisions, when I made the decision to actually make the pickleball machine, that it was no longer a craze, but it was going to be something real that was going to last. I remember I got a flyer from a retirement home in Palm Springs, and they go, and we're going to have pickleball courts. I mean, and I started seeing that, and we, of course, started getting calls, hey, do you make a pickleball machine? And it's going to be around, and you can fit as many as 4 pickleball courts on a tennis court.
Right.
So places that want it, recreation centers want activity, that's what they're doing.
Why senior citizens? Why are the elderly getting into this game?
Because it's a lot easier than tennis. Tennis is, I said, it's on a court about a fourth of the size. And so there's not as much strain on you, and it's fun and fast-paced. And again, the social element. It's very, very, very social game.
Now the paddle, and I've got one right here. They're really lightweight. And the ball itself, like I said earlier, is kind of like a wiffle ball. It's kind of dead. It's kind of a dead ball.
Right.
It doesn't really bounce or anything. And so what is it about this dynamic that makes this game fun? Because I kind of like the idea of a ball that bounces.
Well, the way how the ball bounces, it can be really fast if you hit a certain way. You can create a side spin to it, which is many pro players do side spin.
Side spins?
Yes.
Like put a little English on the ball.
Exactly. You see the ball just curve.
Right off that way. But you got to be really good at being able to do that, right? Or did it take you not very long to learn how to do that?
Since I'm a tennis player, it was an easy transition for me, but it is still challenging because you have to know where to position yourself on the court, like tennis, but you have to also learn how to hit the proper dinks as well.
Now, one of the things I know from Mike is that there are people who are totally dedicated to this game. So much so that they go to these regionals, they go to the national every year in Indian Wells, right? That's where in Indian Wells, you read there. Are there professionals?
There are professionals, and in fact, at Indian Wells, the Margarita Pickleball Championships, they had a professional division. And they are now starting 2 different pickleball professional tours, and I believe the purse for the first year is about 6 events, $750,000 total for the first events. But that's how Tennis started way back when.
Well,
30, 40 years, that's what the purses were in tennis.
Maybe someday we'll see pickleball on Fox. Who knows, right?
I wouldn't doubt it.
Who knows? Anyway, thanks so much, Catch. And we'll be back in just a moment. Coming up next on Fox 11 News in Depth, what has nearly 800 legs, more than a score of tubas, and can be seen every year in Pasadena's Rose Parade? We'll show you after the break. Be right back. The sound of a marching band. This is the sound of the LA Unified School District all high school band, is that what it's called? A massive marching band for the school district, getting an opportunity to show off their stuff, their talents on brass instruments and percussions, and get the opportunity to display some of their skills at some very prestigious locations. The LAUSD Honors Band also features drum majors, flag dancers, and shield carriers. You may have seen them performing, as you see them right here, at Pasadena's Rose Parade. And take a look at this right here. This is another guy that used to be in the band. That's me. That's me a long time ago on a planet very far away. And I was in the Hillcrest High School band playing saxophone. And so this is a subject that's kind of near and dear to my heart. Joining us is the director of LAUSD's music programs, Tony White. He's marched in the honor band before as a student before taking over to direct the band for the last 3 decades. Is that right? 3 decades. We also have band leader Ramon Mendez. And so you also marched in the band.
Yes, sir, I did.
And so what was that like, marching in the band for that? Let's start with you.
It was a life-changing experience to start off. Just being in a parade where thousands of people are cheering you on, and you're confronting a very difficult task, knowing that you have 5.5 miles to perform and doing it to the best of your ability, and the crowd reacting and validating your efforts.
Yeah, that's really true. You know, I can't remember a lot of what I did yesterday, but I totally remember being in the Cotton Bowl Parade back in Dallas when I was in the high school band. These are life-altering experiences, and for these kids who, in many cases, do after-school programs to learn music, to be in a parade like the Rose Parade, the Cotton Bowl Parade, or Monday's Martin Luther King Day Parade, which you're going to be in, this is a big deal.
It's a huge deal. First of all, through LA Unified School District Beyond the Bell Branch, which we have programs that are before and after schools, has taken on a huge commitment to help provide quality arts experience for our students, and music is one of them.
Are you getting the resources you need to be able to do that?
Yes and no. Yes, I mean that we've obviously been supported now for the last 48 years. We had our 48th parade, and then now as we look at it, we want to expand the operation. We want to do more and be able to bring more kids in and do.
Let's talk about expansion.
Events.
What exactly does that look like?
Well, for us, it looks like during our summer months when kids are not probably as active. You know, we don't have kids going to summer camps. We like to create some summer camps for our kids to be a part of. We drum major camps for our kids to come and do, especially our kids who are in low socioeconomic areas. We want to be able to bring them in and give them these experiences so they could parlay it towards the all-city band or other programs that we have.
It's funny how people get involved in music. In my case, my dad was in a big band in college at the University of Pittsburgh, and he played clarinet and he played saxophone, and my brother decided to rip off the clarinet, and I stole the saxophone, and that's how we picked our instruments, and I learned how to play, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah, same way. I still play professionally. As much as I can, and I definitely believe in supporting our young people who would like to follow that, and also too, now we're in the stage where we're telling them to do it all. You know, not used to be like, well, you just do this and don't worry about this. No, you want to be a musician, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, you can do it all.
Or you could be a journalist.
That's right.
And play saxophone, right?
Right.
I'm playing years though, so I don't want to build up anybody's imaginations. No. But what do you play?
Saxophone.
Yeah, well, like me?
Yeah.
And what do you play?
I'm a percussionist, sir.
Oh, okay. So, but I'm boom, right?
Sir.
Okay. And so when we watch these kids, and this is from the Rose Parade, they're feeling goosebumps, aren't they?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
As they're walking those 5 miles and they're playing those songs, their adrenaline is pumping.
Yeah, like you said, it's a life-altering situation, and I know it was life-altering enough for me to lead me into the career which I am now, as being a music coordinator in the LA Unified School District.
So if there are kids that want to be part of this band, how do they do that?
Well, they have to audition. First of all, we would like for them to be in their homeschool music programs. And then we have our audition process. We send out, emails and memos, you name it, social media ways to reach out to our students and to encourage them to
When are your next auditions?
Our next auditions really aren't, at this point here, not until September.
September. So for parents who might be watching,
yes.
Well, what do you want to tell them?
Well, we want to tell them, first of all, we want to encourage them to have their kids be in school music programs, to talk to their schools, talk to their elementary schools, talk to their middle schools and high schools about, hey, do we have a music program? Can my kids be a part of it?
So let me ask you this. I mean, fundamentally, why is music important? How does this make a difference in their lives?
Well, we don't have the long-term barometer to understand what this does. All I know is that from my personal experience and Raymond's experience, he was my student when he was in high school, and he came into my program with no
And I thought you were
knowledge.
younger than him.
Oh, thank you. I like that one. But he came in, and was giving him an opportunity to do something different, and that has allowed him now to go on now to even be a to be a teacher in our district, a counselor. So what I always tell people, we don't know where it's going to take them, but we know that if we're in a land of plenty and we're not giving them the opportunities to develop.
Are you a different person now, Ramon?
Definitely.
Because of music?
Yes. I remember back it was around this time when Mr. White gave me a call. He says, hey, I need a drummer for a gig we have at the local junior high school. Can you sit in? I sat in, and from that moment on, it changed my life. I got my first teacher assistant job because of that event. And he allowed me to work as a volunteer with the All City Marching Band. And it fueled my hunger to get further involved in education. And I chose the path of becoming an academic counselor to advocate for students and allow them the opportunities to be a part of this.
I wish you had your saxophone. I wish you had your drums. I wish I had my saxophone, and we'd play our way out of this break. But unfortunately, we don't have them, so we'll whistle. Ready?
All right.
Okay, never mind. All right. That's it for now. We'll be back right after this break. See you then. Want to know more about electronic devices and the blind? Well, how about playing pickleball? Check out our latest podcast. You can find What the Hell on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you subscribe to podcasts, or just go to whatthehowpodcast.com. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you next time.